Welcome to Coffee and Conversations for Men, a podcast where two men, Jay Guy
and Brian Jones,
sit down to share their stories of struggles, successes, and everything in between as they navigate the ups and downs of life.
Each episode will dive into topics men are curious about as it relates to their fitness, nutrition, relationships, mental health, and being a lifelong learner. If you're looking for real talk, honest discussions, and practical advice, you're in the right place.
So grab your coffee
Or your favorite drink.
and sit back and join us for some candid conversations that will inspire, motivate, and remind you that you are not alone on this journey. So let's get started. We're excited to let you know that we're going to be interviewing Coach Lee Hayward from Newfoundland, Canada.
Lee's a former competitive bodybuilder and one of the pioneers in the online bodybuilding and fitness scene.
He started his Total Body Fitness website in 1997.
And in 2006, he started making YouTube videos.
Wow.
And in 2011, he was chosen by YouTube's Next Trainer program as the top bodybuilding coach that year.
These days, Lee focuses on helping men over 40 build muscle, lose fat, and get back into shape with his Muscle After 40 Blueprint coaching program.
We'll be talking to Lee about his Lose Your Gut challenge as it relates to our 5 pillars of fitness, nutrition, mental health, relationships, and lifelong learning.
So join us for that conversation because we are excited to have Coach Lee.
All right, Jay, to start off this episode, what's in your cup?
Today I'm drinking coffee from 49th Parallel.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's an organic breakfast roast from 49th Parallel. And the tasting notes are dried fig and pecan.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, it's
interesting.
It's really
Interesting
good.
combination.
It's not too sweet, but
Right.
there's definitely the dried fig makes it sweet enough for me.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It's how about yourself? What are you drinking today?
Well, this is interesting. I got this as a gift, and it's Balzac coffee roasters.
Love it.
And it's a company that's been around since 1993,
Mm-hmm.
and they're in a lot of coffee cafes across Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
So completely Canadian run, Canadian roasted, Canadian sold. And what's really interesting that it's recognized after and named after Honora de Balzac. Well, he was a writer,
Okay.
but this guy drank 40 cups of coffee a day.
What?
But he did because he believed that coffee fueled ideas and conversation with others,
Oh my God.
which is kind of symbolic for what we're doing.
I thought I drank a lot of coffee.
Well, this guy.
oh
Anyway,
my
so that's
God.
what the company's named after.
Yeah.
And it's ethical sourcing and fair trade, organic options and sustainability.
Mm.
But yeah, 40 cups of coffee a day, this guy.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
challenge accepted.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Exactly.
Lee, just before we get started, I just wanted to thank you for joining us today before we get into our first set of questions here.
So for our first pillar, which is all about fitness, we got a question here Jay's going to ask you.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of guys feel intimidated returning to the gym when they get out of shape. What advice would you give men who feel embarrassed or unsure where to start again?
That's a good one, Jay. And a lot of people can relate to that. I mean, I can even relate to that. It's just intimidating going to the gym when you're not feeling comfortable in your own skin and it's outside your comfort zone. So the best thing that I would advise in that situation, that this is like the number one hack, if you will, is just get a personal trainer at the gym to take you through. And because a lot of guys try to say, I'll figure it out on my own, and they almost procrastinate starting because they go, well, I don't know. I don't want to look stupid at the gym, or they feel intimidated, they feel embarrassed. But I would just get a personal trainer to take you through, especially if you haven't been to the gym in years, or maybe you've never been to the gym. Who knows? And that's something that I actually do now. I mean, I do a little bit of one-on-one in-person training. I mean, most of what I do is online, but I like that in-person aspect because it really humanizes fitness and nutrition. And you can see the challenges that people are going through. And like there's one coaching student that I'm working with now, for example, like he's a teacher at the university. So he's respected in his field of work, but in the gym, he is totally outside his comfort zone.
Yeah, yeah, good.
Right?
Especially going into the new year, we've got lots of people that will be
Yeah.
diving into the gym,
Go
which
ahead, Jeff.
leads me to the question. I mean, not all of us. You've had a very successful term as a competitive bodybuilding, but for most of our listeners, that isn't one of their long-term goals. So how has your training philosophy really changed since stepping away from competitive bodybuilding and becoming a dad?
Right. Bodybuilding is a unique sport in that it's that extreme all or nothing approach. I mean,
Mm.
I'm not sure if you've, do you know bodybuilders personally? Are you familiar with the sport?
Familiar with the sport, yes. Knowing them personally, no.
Okay. It's one of those things where it is a very selfish sport and it's kind of like an all-encompassing thing. So like when you go into contest prep mode, it's like putting on the blinders and then it's just okay, everything is just eat, sleep, train, repeat. Your whole life and schedule is just geared around prepping for that competition.
Mm.
And it works. Don't get me wrong. Like if you commit to like, okay, I'm going to work out 6 days a week, 2 hours a day. I'm going to eat boiled chicken and broccoli. I'm going to do an hour of fasted cardio every morning before breakfast, and like all this kind of stuff. Yes, it works. Absolutely, it works. But the thing is it's all encompassing, and it's even when I was going through that process, I would always suffer it out in the short term, but I couldn't wait for this to be over in the long term.
Oh, wow. So there was the goal, but
Yeah,
that once it was over, you were so happy with the process being over.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah. That makes sense.
So, like, just say, for example, okay, there's a competition coming up in 4 months' time. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm putting on the blinders for the next 4 months. This is my number one priority. Everything else gets pushed off to the back burner. I'm just going to go all in on this one goal. And yeah, it works. You can get in great shape and see that remarkable before and after transformation. And it's
Mm.
very inspiring. I mean, from some, if someone just zoomed in on that one aspect, okay, the before, the after, getting ripped for competition. Yes, it looks impressive. But then right after that competition is like, oh, where's the all-you-can-eat buffet? Where's the ice cream shop? Where's the pizza place,
Yeah.
right? Where's the bakery? Where's all this junk that I've been craving in the weeks and months leading up to this contest? And ironically, like most
Yeah.
contests have that built in there. Like they usually have, okay, we have the contest and then like the after party is at Boston Pizza or something like that. They'll have some big after party at a pizza place or some restaurant of sorts, and then the binge starts, right? So the way I
Yeah.
always like to look at it is almost like imagine if we were helping somebody overcome an addiction, like someone went through an AA program or something like that, and okay, all right, you went through AA for the last 4 months. Now to celebrate, we're going to take you out to a nightclub and go drinking. Like that, like
That
that's the kind
sounds
of
counterintuitive. Yeah.
absolutely is counterintuitive, right? So like people diet their asses off for months on end, and then at the end of the whole contest, we celebrate by pigging out. So
Wow.
then what happens is it's so easy to let it slide because without that pressure of the goal, pressure of the competition,
Right.
you gave in, you had your big cheat meal afterwards, and then the next day it's like, oh, I'm not going to work out today. I'm going to rest. I'm going to probably take a week off from the gym, let my body rest and recover. And then it's so easy to make those poor nutrition choices because, well, the contest is done. It's all, the dust is settled. And
Mm.
then next thing you know, you slide back into those old habits again. And for me, it was crazy because months of dieting to lose the weight, only a few weeks of falling off track to gain it all back again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And
so so what? How do you avoid the all or nothing trap?
right. That is with bodybuilding, it's kind of inevitable. There's that all or nothing trap. Like if anyone is going to be competitive as a bodybuilder, they have to kind of embrace the suck, if you will. Like man up, suck it up, just get it done. But then how far do you let yourself go afterwards? That's the delicate balance. Because I know for a lot of amateurs and people who are not used to this, it's either I'm on a diet or there's no diet. It's like a light switch, right? On or off. And
Yeah.
we operate more like a dial where, okay, I'm going to dial it up when I'm getting in shape, and then I'm just going to dial it back slightly. So I'm not starving myself or depriving myself, but at the same time, I'm not just letting it all go. And
Mm.
that's a very delicate balance. But that's if someone wanted to compete in bodybuilding, that's the key, I guess, is to really find out how do you just dial it up or dial it back and not turn it on or off.
Yeah,
Where's the healthy medium, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
is that good enough? And that's it makes sense intellectually, but it's hard to find that in practice, right? It's
yeah.
when you've gone through months of dieting, you feel like I earned this. I deserve to have this reward, this cheat, this whatever. And then
Mm,
next thing you know, it just starts to spiral out of control.
yeah. Well, which really leads into our nutrition pillar.
mm,
And I'm really curious because in a lot of your YouTubes and a lot of your material that you put out to clients and to the general public, you emphasize, no starving, no cutting carbs, no crash diet. So what's the core philosophy behind this protocol that makes it sustainable?
That's when it comes to the dieting, like we need to zoom out and look at the big picture because a crash diet or an extreme dietary approach does work. Like if you cut your carbs, you go keto, you just intermittent fast or do some crazy extreme calorie restriction, yes, it's going to work. In the short term, it's going to work. But like, how does that make you feel? Like, I mean,
mm,
I'm sure you guys have probably followed various diets over the years.
Mhm.
mm,
How does it make you feel? And I don't mean like just initially, but like, how does it make you feel after you've been doing it for a few weeks, a few months, six
mm.
months, if you even last that long? You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's not sustainable. And that's why when I'm coaching people or even with my own nutrition, I always try and focus on dialing it up, like that analogy of the dial and the light switch. Instead of I'm on a diet or I'm off a diet, on,
Mm,
off, on, off, let's just dial it up a little bit. And it doesn't have to be crazy. Like some simple things, like let's just make some better food choices. Let's just
mm.
scale back the portions a little bit. Just try and make better choices. And I always like to view it like a balance scale. Like we're not going to be 100% perfect or 100% off track. We just need to kind of like tip the scale in favor of ever so slightly making progress in the right direction, and then let that compound over time.
Okay. Okay.
That's a great answer. Yeah.
Well, when a lot of guys hear the word diet, they imagine boiled chicken and broccoli in Tupperware. How do you help guys shift from a restrictive eating to something more enjoyable and nutritious?
It goes back to what I was saying before. Like it does work. I mean, and even when I was competing in bodybuilding, it does work. And this is where it gets confusing. Like all these different diets, if you're going extreme, yes, it works in the short term. But if you
Mm,
can't stick to it long term and you're viewing it as, okay, I'm going on a diet for whatever, I'm going on a diet for the next 3 months or something like that, it's only short term. You have to look at it like, what can I do as a lifestyle? What can I do a year from now, 3 years from now? I'll still be doing this 5 years from now. Like, think bigger. And if your eating plan or your diet is something that you can't sustain for longer than a few weeks or a few months, the results are only temporary.
that's really what I enjoy about fasting. I have done the whole like start
Hmm.
the day off with breakfast and all that kind of, and I just felt slow, sluggish. And I
Okay.
just, like you said about how do you feel long term? I just didn't feel good when I
Yeah.
started fasting and I started to do my splits between my 16 and or my 16 and 8 and really dial in my fasting. Like I've been doing that now for the last at least 6 years, 7 years,
Okay.
and I feel great when I'm fasting. My window, I don't start eating till noon, and
Hmm.
my window closes at 6 p.m. There's nothing after that, and I can tell you, I've never felt better.
So it works for you. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's awesome. I mean, and this is the thing is we really need to find like what works for you, your situation, your lifestyle.
Mhm.
I mean, I have done intermittent fasting and I have gotten good results from it. And I've
Okay.
also experienced, I guess, some of the dark side of intermittent fasting where sometimes I'll I'll go through a fasting period and then you kind of make those justifications. Well, I deserve to have a slice of pizza at night because after all, I didn't eat anything all day, right?
Yeah.
You go through that big dip and blood sugar crash, and sometimes in the evening when I did start eating, is like opening up the floodgates, and sometimes it's hard to control it. Now, I'm not saying it can't work, but there
Mm.
there is a downside to it because sometimes, ironically, a lot of overweight people unintentionally intermittent fast. And I'll give you an example of this. Like they wake up in the morning and they're probably not all that hungry, right? They'll grab a coffee, for example, and get run out the door, go to work. They're running around doing their work and their chores and their errands, whatever they got to do. And as long as they stay busy, probably having coffee or something like that to curb the appetite, they can get away with it. And then in the evening, okay, now I'm going to rest and have my meals, right? I'm going to have my meal. And then very often they overindulge, right? It's like opening up the floodgates. And then very often you can justify those poor choices. Like, hey, well, I didn't eat anything all day. I deserve to have second helpings, or I deserve to have the dessert. I just, and it's
Yeah.
easy to mentally, even though like you shouldn't, it's easy to justify it because after all, I didn't eat anything all day. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I fell into that trap for a while where initially when I did intermittent fasting, I found it worked really well for me. But then
Mhm.
I found like during my feeding window, my portions grew bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where it was no longer a calorie deficit. Now,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
but again, if you're in control of it, making better choices and things like that, like you can still make it work, right? Like that's,
Yeah, I got it dialed in pretty well. I
yeah.
really do. Yeah, like you say about knowing where you're sitting, whether it's deficit or not, if that's your
Yep.
goal. If yeah,
Hmm.
and I got it locked in pretty well.
So, Lee, help me understand from the difference between with true hunger versus emotional eating or convenient eating.
That's a great question. And one that I always use, especially for my coaching students, is would you eat, say, like chicken and vegetables? Like, if you're hungry, like, would you satisfy that hunger with a chicken salad, for example? Right? Would you do that?
Mm, mhm.
And if they would, that's legitimate hunger. Like, if you really would, hey, I'm hungry, I want to eat, I'm willing to have chicken and vegetables. But if you're hungry and you're like, well, I don't want chicken and vegetables, but I really would like a slice of cake right now. I'm craving a slice of cake. Like I use my son as an example of this. It's a great one because my son Harvey, he's 9 years old, and very often we're sitting down to the dinner table, and he says, "I'm full. I don't want any more supper. I don't want any more. I'm good." And I say, "Okay, that's fine." And I don't force him to eat. Like I'm not like when I was raised, it was always you have to eat everything on your plate, right? I don't do that with my son. I always tell him, hey, if you're full, you're satisfied, that's good, right? You don't need to finish it off. But he says, but I'd like some dessert. And I said,
Yeah.
now you just told me you're full. He said, yeah, I'm full of that. I'm full of the meat and the potatoes and the vegetables. He says, but I want some dessert. I'm still hungry for that. And so that's how you decipher the difference if this is a craving or if it's emotional eating.
Yeah,
So
we have a joke in our family. It's funny you say that because we have a joke in our family that we have two stomachs. We have a food stomach and a dessert stomach.
absolutely. And Christmas, I mean, we're recording this right after the Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
We've all experienced that. Like I'm guilty as charged because I went
Yeah.
up to my mother's for Christmas dinner, and of course we had the turkey and the whole Christmas dinner thing, and I just ate and ate and ate like you would. Went back for second helpings.
Oh yeah.
I can't eat another bite. I'm good. And like 5 minutes later, oh, I got some dessert. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
Yeah.
there.
I think I was on my third stomach by the time I was done,
Yeah.
Lee.
Sure.
So you mentioned Harvey, your son. So
Yeah.
let's go back when you became a dad, because I mean you've been doing the fitness program and with clients for decades here. And I mean your first YouTube and internet and your website came out way back before Harvey was born. So how has that changed your whole lifestyle to still have fitness as a focus, but still balance it with being a dad?
Yeah, that my priority has changed and my motivation has changed because it's not just about me anymore. It's I
Mm.
want to set an example for him. And that's one of my core motivations at this time. Because I find like, especially for a lot of guys, we get into that situation where we're providing for everybody else. Like, okay, we're working full time, we're putting a roof over our head, food on the table, we're taking the kids to all their sporting events and activities, whatever it is, music and dance and all this kind of stuff. And the next thing you know, they're putting their own needs on the back burner.
Mhm.
And in the it sounds noble and everything else, but then that can bite you in the ass. That can catch up to you. And next thing you know, okay, now dad's 50 years old and he's got health issues, right? High blood pressure, high cholesterol, overweight, diabetes, basically a heart attack waiting to happen. And,
Mm.
you know, we all know situations like that where people have let their health go, and to the point where, okay, now they're a burden on the family versus the provider. And I always try and have that as my anchor. Like I want to be the provider in a good way. I want to be a long-term provider, not just a short-term provider. So
Mhm.
that's one of the things that really motivates me. And also just the example. Because I always use this, kids don't listen to what you say, they see what you do,
Yeah, that's a great line.
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
They see what you do. Like, how many people have you known? Like, I know friends and family, and they'll, like, when I was a teenager, they literally have a beer in one hand and a cigarette in the other and say, "Don't you ever smoke or drink." Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like or someone who's overweight, like, and then they're telling their kids, "Hey, you should get out and join sports, or you should be more active." Okay, like, you're saying one thing, but your actions are speaking a totally different message, and the actions
Yeah.
are speaking louder than words.
Yeah. 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 That makes a lot of sense, Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always try and think of, like, what kind of example am I setting? And it's amazing how those subtle hints make a difference. Because, like, for example, we've got a home gym down in our basement. And every now and then, like, I'll take advantage of the home gym and work out down there. And every now and then I'll go down and, like, the dumbbells are on the floor or something, like, and I see, like, Harvey's down there working out, you know, or he's doing stuff, or he's doing push-ups, or he's doing stuff like that. Like, he's
Yeah.
mimicking it, right? He's
Yeah.
learning this and mimicking it. And that's the kind of impact that I want to have, right? Like,
Good.
real world impact where he's seeing this stuff and wanting to embrace that as his own identity.
I loved how you touched on behaviors and Harvey seeing your behavior and leading by example it's a great quality. We've already talked about it in our father figure episode of being influential without even knowing it or without even knowing how far your influence goes, but it's just leading in the community. People just see it and they react to you, right? So I'm glad you touched on that. I really am, because we've actually talked about it in another episode. Lee, what role do community and accountability, like your Facebook group or helping men stay on track and long term, what role does that play for you?
I'm a big fan of having a network of people in the fitness industry. And what I mean by that is people that you can associate with who have similar goals. And I
Hmm.
think that makes a big difference. What was it? The old school self-improvement personal development guru, Jim Rohn. Do you remember Jim Rohn, right?
Mhm.
He used to
Yeah.
have a saying that you're the average of the five people you spend the most time with. And that applies in so many areas. Like, so if you have friends who are involved with fitness and
Hmm.
that's close connections and relationships, more likely you're going to be more involved with fitness. Like, it applies to everything. Like, for example, like, musicians are going to hang out with musicians. Computer nerds are going to hang out with other computer nerds and gamers. And of course, athletes or bodybuilders or fitness-minded folks are going to hang out with other athletes, bodybuilders, or fitness-minded folks.
Hmm.
So having that type of social connection is so powerful because that's going to subconsciously pull you up to a higher level. And a lot of people have to go out and look for that on their own. Because if you rely on just your friends and your family and your neighbors, most people don't have that. I'm trying to create that with my son and be the leader in my own family, but most people don't have that. Like, for example, in my scenario right now, like, none of my close relatives or neighbors or anybody, like, they're sedentary. I hate to say this word, but they're average folks. You know what I mean? Like, they don't exercise, they don't eat right. They're probably at least 50 pounds or more overweight. Like, they're average people, right? And
Hmm.
if that's who you're associating with and that's who you have your benchmark set against, then, you know, it's not much motivation to pull you up to a higher level. But if you get around other people, athletes or gym goers or whatever, and then you see them performing at a higher level, it's like, man, like, damn, I want to keep up with the group. Like, I want to be able to do that. And it's motivating,
Right.
it pulls you up, it inspires you.
Yeah, like the iron sharpens iron, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's huge. Like, I'm a big advocate of like joining a gym, even just being around a gym environment, because I find when you go to the gym, you feed off that energy, that motivation, and you'll make some friends and acquaintances at the gym, and you'll see them in there working out day after day, making progress. And it's like, shit, I got to keep up with these guys, versus if you're trying to do it on your own in isolation,
Mhm.
it's not the same motivation. It's
Yeah.
not the same.
Yeah.
Now, we can obviously try and create that in person, which I think is the best, but you can also create that virtually as well,
Mhm.
Right.
through online social media groups like Facebook groups. Like prime example, I know Brian and I, we met through the Dad Bod Transformation Group, which is a group just like that. It's
Yeah.
a group of fitness-minded folks that are there to help motivate and encourage one another. And that is huge because you get to see other people who are taking action and getting results, and it gives you hope. I mean, it gives you inspiration. And of course, if you see someone who's made a great transformation, it's like, well, wow, if they can do it, what's possible for me?
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
like that. I like to view it as like a high tide rises all ships.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, being around.
So, what about the question? How do I avoid the comparison piece
Mhm.
Yeah.
of looking at guys and going, you know what, I wish I could do that, and then I end up giving up. So there's that default to the comparison.
Yeah, that is the nasty side of this because there's always everything could be an extreme of one side or the other, right?
Mhm.
Like for example, like when we were talking about fasting, like fasting can work great, but I mean, you can also have the downside of intermittent fasting. Having a network of people that you're around can be great, but it can also be negative. So, like, yeah, that comparison syndrome is real. And how I find to get around people who are similar to you. So, for example, like if you're in your 40s or above, hang around other guys and compare yourself to other folks who are in their 40s and above versus trying to compare yourself to the 20 something year old fitness influencer on Instagram who's single, no responsibilities, can just eat, sleep, train, repeat.
Mhm.
Right.
It's a different
And
conversation.
and they took 30 pictures, but picked the best one to post
Yes. That
with the
that's
right
another
light, the
thing.
right
Yeah.
angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody is who's in the fitness game knows that. Like everybody who's a fitness influencer and posting pictures and stuff, like they know the right spot in the gym to get that perfect lighting, that perfect angle,
Yeah.
and they will take multiple double-digit pictures to get that one. And then, of course, then you'll put filters and edits and whatever else. I mean, now we got AI. Who knows what you can do with your photos to make them look good? That's a side note, but I always say that the people you see on Instagram, like the people themselves, don't look as good as they do in their own pictures. Like if you see
Mhm.
them in person,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we got to factor in there as well. But I like to look at guys, from a realistic point of view, like other people who are similar to you. And that's one of the things like we have a program, it's called Muscle After 40, and it's guys who are obviously over 40, and a lot of them are either coming back to the gym after a layoff, like maybe they worked out when they were in their 20s or college days or something like that, but now life, family responsibilities, career, and they're like, okay, I got to do something. So they're starting again. And
Mhm.
compare yourself to other guys who are starting again versus comparing yourself to someone who's been a lifelong athlete or again that 20 something year old who's you know, his idea of being out of shape is having a 4-pack instead of a 6-pack. You know? Oh, I let myself go. I can only see my top 4 abs, whereas most people there's no abs at all. It's just a
That's right.
roll.
That's right. They're
Yeah.
there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lee, one more question for you.
Yeah.
Your journey evolved from competitive bodybuilding to teaching men sustainable fitness. What was your biggest lessons that you had to unlearn?
The big one is that all or nothing trap. And I know we've touched on this previously, but it's really a mindset because when you're in that bodybuilding frame of mind, you're in that competition side of things, you can really focus on like suck it up, buttercup. You got to get the job done. We're going to push it hard, like no pain, no gain. And you can even use that, like coaches would even use that with people like, hey, how bad do you want it? Like, are you willing to suffer to get the results? Like,
Mm.
and they would put that mindset to people. And if someone wasn't willing to suffer it out or do what it takes, it's like, well, screw it. I'm going to work with somebody else. Like it's almost
Yeah.
discourage you because I'll focus on someone who is willing to suffer it out and willing to get the results.
Mm.
And in real life, it's not like that. Like we just don't want to discard ourselves because, I can't work out 2 hours a day, 6 days a week and live off boiled chicken and broccoli. Like, I have a life, I have a career, I have a family, I have other responsibilities. Like, how can we make it work in a
Mhm.
real world situation here? And one of the things I found from bodybuilding was giving yourself permission to take imperfect action.
Wow,
And
tell me more about that.
Yeah, please.
yeah, what I mean by that is when I was competing in bodybuilding, I had this mental block thinking like if I don't have 2 hours to go to the gym, I don't have time to work out. Like it's going to take me at least 2 hours to get in a good workout. Or if I don't have at least an hour to do cardio, well, I don't have time to do cardio. Or if I can't follow the perfect diet, then like, well, screw it. What's the point? And there was even times where I was getting ready for competitions where I probably started off on a good track, working out consistently, doing the cardio, sticking to the diet, and then something derailed my progress there for a few days or maybe a week. And I just said, oh, screw it, right? I can't be all in. And I would actually drop out of the competition, right?
Oh,
Because
Oh,
wow.
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
it was that all or nothing, because
Right.
like if I can't be 110%, I can't go. Screw it. What's the point of doing anything at all?
Now, does this relate? You've made reference to the
The
yo-yo
yo-yo
trap.
trap. Yeah,
Yeah,
Is very similar.
it's kind of similar in a way. Yeah, because the yo-yo dieting again is usually people have that, oh, I got to be perfect, and then if they screw up, then they totally go the opposite direction. I'll give you an analogy that I love to use for this, and this is one that a lot of people will relate to. Imagine someone trying to quit smoking. So here we are now. The New Year's is just around the corner. I'm sure there's a lot of people saying, you know what, New Year's resolution, I'm going to give up the cigarettes. And maybe they go a week or two without smoking, and then in a moment of weakness, they pick up, and they have a cigarette. And they're like, "Ah, I knew I couldn't quit smoking. I'm a screw up. I'm a failure." And then they go back and start smoking again. Whereas if you like zoomed out and look at the big picture, let's just say someone's smoking a pack a day on average,
Right.
and you went a full week, and then you had a moment of weakness and you gave in and had one cigarette. Well, you went from 20 cigarettes a day to one in a week. Like that's huge progress. Like pat
Yeah.
yourself on the back. Like way to go. Awesome job. Let's keep going. Versus most people would say, I'm a screw up. I can't do this. I knew I couldn't quit smoking. And then they'll go back to smoking again. A lot
Mhm.
of people approach fitness like that. They're like, oh, that's it. I'm going on strict diet. I'm going 6 days a week to the gym. And then they miss a couple days. And they're like, oh, I knew I couldn't work out every day. Oh, screw it. Working out's not for me. I give up.
Yeah, that inconsistency
Yeah.
kills most people, eh?
Yeah. So it's that perfection mindset. It's that perfection trap. Like if I can't be perfect, then what's the point of doing anything at all? And that's why I say give yourself permission to take imperfect action. Like if
No,
you
okay.
miss a day, who cares? Start
Yeah.
again the next day. If you cheat on your diet, who cares? Start again for your next meal. Or if you're extra busy, like, oh, I don't have 2 hours to go to the gym. Well, hey, can you do something? Like maybe, okay, I don't have 2 hours to go to the gym, but I can put on my sneakers and go for a 20-minute walk around the block. I can do
Hmm.
something. I can do some push-ups and squats and crunches in my living room. Like I can do something, and something's better than nothing. So
Yeah.
Right.
giving yourself permission to
Okay.
take imperfect action,
Right.
and then that's another thing. Like I always say, like something's better than nothing. This makes sense when we say it intellectually, but it's hard when you're in those moments. Like, when you're that chatter in your own brain, like it's so easy to justify and say, like, it's not good enough. This isn't going to make no difference.
Yeah. This sounds like a I talked myself out of a workout.
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You can talk yourself out of it because, oh, I don't have enough time, or you make up these excuses because it's not perfect or it's not optimal. Whereas being comfortable with less than optimal, that's
Yeah.
where a lot of the progress is actually going to happen, especially if you got a lot on your plate, like career, family, responsibilities. There's going to be a lot of times where you don't have a 2 hour block, but there's probably times where, you got 30 minutes or you got 20 minutes, you got something.
Yeah. 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 The average person doesn't have a 2 hour window to go to the gym.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen.
No,
Yeah.
it's hard to make that time. I mean, I even find it hard to make that time. So like prime example, before we even started this podcast, I said, I want to get a little bit of exercise in. So I did like 15 minutes on my rowing machine downstairs. Now,
Yeah.
okay, 15 minutes on the rower, does that make a big difference? No. Like if I did it or if I didn't do it, I'm still going to look the same. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that one 15-minute session is not going to make a difference. But what if I did 15 minutes every day for the next year? That
Hmm.
can compound over time,
Hmm.
right? So those little decisions, giving yourself permission to take imperfect action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a lot of guys, fitness often becomes a form of therapy. And how have you seen consistent movement and nutrition impact men's mental resilience?
I can attest to that. Fitness is my therapy for sure, and I think a lot of people, if they worked out on a regular basis, that would eliminate a lot of the stress and reliance on other forms of therapy, if you will. And what I mean by other forms of therapy is a lot of people, uh, they resort to television, drink, recreational drugs, whatever, like something to numb the pain, if you will. And I find like fitness is my form of therapy for that. Like it makes
Yeah.
a huge difference. And honestly, if I don't work out, I miss it. Like
Hmm.
as I mentioned like earlier, like I wanted to get some exercise in this morning. Like I did that little 15-minute session on the rower. I felt
Hmm.
better afterwards. Now, it's easy in the moment to say like, oh, I don't feel like doing it or whatever, and what difference is it going to make? But after I did it, I felt better afterwards. And this is something I like to rewire my brain to always think like, how are you going to feel after something versus how are you feeling right now? So like exercise and most good habits have this tendency where it might not feel good in the moment, but it's going to feel really good after. Whereas
Hmm.
bad habits, they feel really good now, but they don't feel really good after. Think of
Hmm.
like going out and having a few beers with your buddies. Okay, it feels good now, but the hangover the next day is not going to feel good.
No.
A workout, okay, yeah, it hurts. You're sweating, you're working hard, and everything else. It doesn't feel good now, but you feel so much better afterwards, right?
Yeah. Sometimes some of the best workouts are those ones you've almost talked yourself out of,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then got in there and started with the workout, and then something just takes over.
Mm-hmm.
Something just takes over, and you end up leaving the gym, and you're like, oh, you know what? I almost missed that, and that was a great workout.
Oh, I can relate to that. I've experienced that myself numerous times, and
Yeah.
thankfully, like I have a good relationship with my wife. Like she's a former competitive bodybuilder, and she used to compete in figure and bodybuilding. That's what she did. So a lot of times when I'm in that state, like I want to go to the gym, but I don't know, I'm tired. It's late. It's this. It's that, and you're starting to make up all these stupid excuses in your mind. And sometimes she'll like just you know go. You'll feel better afterwards, and she'll like shove me out the door.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
this ties into my next question. Sorry, Lee, this ties into my next question. What mindset shifts do you believe are essential for men to stay strong, to stay lean, and to stay healthy after 40? Is it literally just pushing yourself out the door?
it can be. I mean, that's as simple as it is. It certainly can be. I think the biggest mindset shift, if I were to break it down, giving yourself permission to take imperfect action, like being okay with that,
Yeah.
and being okay with imperfect results too. Like I know Brian mentioned earlier that the whole comparison trap. So, like for
Mhm.
example, you might start working out and you're like, okay, I've been working out for the last 6 weeks, but I still don't look like Joe Blow that I see on Instagram, or I'm not as big as the guys at the gym, or that's okay, right? Like give yourself permission to keep going, to take that imperfect action.
Mhm.
And I know it sounds cliche or whatever, but like comparing you to you.
Mhm.
Like we're
That's
all
hard.
different.
But yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
so important.
Yeah. I don't have a workout buddy. Because I work out at home. I work
Mhm.
out by myself. So I don't have that ability to look around the gym and compare myself in the moment. But I gotta tell you, man, when I'm on Instagram, oh, that's an easy slide to slip down.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I don't have it in the gym in the moment, but I can tell you the Instagram, like you say, the Instagram, the influencer there that's taken all those picture perfect pictures and posted them so perfectly, man, it is pretty easy to look at somebody else and say like, oh man, I wish my figure looked like that.
Mhm.
You know, I wish I had that physique. So yeah, it's really easy to slide into that way.
But it's also I work out in my basement too
Yeah.
with equipment, but I also hit the pool twice a week. So I can be swimming lengths, watching the guy beside me who's older than I am whip by me, but I can look and say, okay, well, what's his hands doing? What are his feet doing? Oh, his knees are straight. And then I've got a direct role model
Mm,
to compare and try to improve my own ability by doing that. So
mm,
it's not an Instagram photo, but it is a role model next to me,
mm,
trying to figure out what is he doing a little bit different that
mm.
makes him faster and stronger.
And one thing you'll find too, a lot of times when people are better, it's just they've been doing it a lot longer.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
When you go down the rabbit hole, like especially technique, I'll give you an example outside of fitness. Like my wife has recently gotten involved with darts. So she joined a dart league about, I don't know, 6 months ago or something like that. Because her sister was a part of the dart league over there, and she said, hey, it'd be fun to get together once a week or whatever. We go over and have socialize and play darts. So she's been watching YouTube videos about darts, and then you get into it, and like some people, well, they want to have a light dart, or someone else wants to have a heavy dart, and then someone else has their technique for throwing the darts, and someone else has their other technique. And the crazy thing is you'll see polar opposites. Like there might be a world champion or professional caliber dart player has light darts and has his own technique, and then someone else has heavy darts and his technique, and it's polar opposites, but they're still getting great results.
Yeah.
This applies with fitness because sometimes you'll see like, oh, I'm the high volume guy. I don't do any cardio, or I'm the low volume guy, or I do cardio, or I eat high carbs, I eat low carbs, I do this, I do that, and they're getting results. Like so, sometimes like not getting bogged down in all the nitty gritty details, but like looking
Mhm.
at the big picture and what are some of the commonalities. One thing, they've got a lot of repetitions under their belt. They've been doing this a long time. Anybody who's good at it, like the guy who you mentioned swimming the lanes, who's faster than you and older than you, chances are he's got a lot more laps under his belt than you do.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't take swimming lessons until I was 55. So what do
Wow,
I?
that's respectable. That's awesome. I mean, the
Yeah.
fact that you did that. But still, like you got to put things in perspective. And a lot of
Yeah.
times we're comparing like our day-to-day grind to someone else's highlight reel. Like hey,
Hmm.
I only started, like you mentioned, you started swimming at 55. First off, how many people are willing to actually do that?
Yeah. Private lessons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't. Like they say, I'm over the hill.
Yeah.
I'm too old to swim. Screw it. What's the point? But you
Yeah.
did. You took action.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. I mean, like now you need to compare similar categories of people. Now you can be inspired by other people and learn from them, but realize like they're at a different level. And it's not right or wrong, good or bad. It's just we're different. We're all running our own race
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. If you could teach every man one skill that would support their health and the rest of their life, what skill would that be?
That's a tough one because there's so many things here. Like if I want one skill, like how do we boil this down to one thing, right? Again, I'm coming back to variations of that, giving yourself permission to take action, like it
Yeah.
being good enough and good enough consistently. This is one that I've really adopted, and I kind of view it as my superpower, is being okay with being good enough and good enough consistently. Because when I was competing in bodybuilding, and I see this with a lot of top level athletes, it's that all or nothing. It's that light switch approach, right? Like I'm on or I'm off. And being good enough and good enough consistently and just being in the game long term, that's a different mindset. And it doesn't have to be perfect.
Mhm.
Another way that I like to hear it is some people say like you want to be consistently good versus occasionally great.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, I
I'll write
like
that
that.
down.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Eh, I just want to share a story. Like, there's a friend of mine. He's a fellow Newfoundlander, and we used to work out at the same gym. And he did some bodybuilding shows back in the early 2000s. Got himself in great shape. He did reasonably well on the local level, competing in bodybuilding.
Mhm.
And we stay in touch through social media and stuff, and we're chatting. And it's just because he follows my stuff that I post online and things like that. And I just was asking him, like saying, how are your workouts going? He said, oh, I haven't been in the gym for 10 years. Okay, you're still following the game and everything else, but like in his mind, he's like, okay, well, when I have the time and everything's done and all these things are off my plate, I'm going to get back at it again. I'm going to get back at it again, just like I was when I was competing. And like it's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be obstacles, especially, as Harry is now. I mean, he's in his 50s now, and all the responsibilities of family and career and that. So it just has to be good enough. Like
Yeah.
stop thinking of, when I was competing in bodybuilding and I had the perfect pre-contest program. No, like that's gone. Just focus
Right.
on being good enough and good enough consistently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which
Good.
makes a lot of sense. I mentioned my father-in-law off
Yeah,
air,
right. Yeah.
and he says the same similar thing. He said, as you age, you literally have to just adjust what
Hmm.
you're doing to fit where you are in the moment. Yeah, so it goes right back, ties right back into be good enough in the moment and
Yep.
give yourself some grace to just wander.
Now we've covered a lot of our pillars with your questions, and we always end up by asking our guests. And we asked Mark Spavel, and
Yeah,
we asked
Justin
Justin
Brothers.
Brothers the same question. The question is, what advice would you give your younger self, knowing what you know now? If you were Harvey's age now, what advice would you give your younger self?
That's a challenging one. The reason why I say this is a challenging one, because sometimes making mistakes has been the best way to learn lessons. So, I mean, yes, I would give myself advice to, hey, like, avoid this mistake, avoid that mistake, or whatever. But then at the same time, I would probably miss out on the lesson that I learned from that mistake.
Ooh, that's a good one.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So
yeah.
I do want to answer the question though, like, but I'm cautious. Like, would I really, if I had the power, like I had the crystal ball or the magic wand, whatever, and I could go back in time, I don't know if I would change that much, really. But one thing that I would like to tell my younger self is to just go for it more. Like, in those situations where you're hesitating, like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Just do it. Figure it out as you go. Like, again, give yourself permission to take imperfect action, and it's okay to screw up. Because I had that perfection mindset a lot when I was younger, waiting for the perfect opportunity. And if now I think like the older you get, the the less you are emotionally attached to the outcome in some cases, or at least I am in that sense, where I'll just try something. I mean, if it doesn't work, and hey, it doesn't work, big deal, right? And life goes on. I learned a lesson,
Yeah.
but just giving
Yeah.
yourself permission to get out there and just
Good.
try something.
Do
That's
it.
the thing I would really want to
Good.
emphasize.
Good.
Mm.
That's great. And what's on the plate for you for this next year? I mean, you've done your lose your gut challenge things and your clients and your YouTube and
Mm.
what's next for you?
Well, I am going to be running another Lose Your Gut challenge in January, and this is something it's kind of like a short intensive mini course where we kind of like lay the foundation and try and get people started on the right track. And I know, Brian, you've gone through the Lose Your
I
Gut.
did. I
Yeah.
did. Loved it.
And it's just a short program. Like it's literally 5 days of intensive coaching, and it's all done virtually online. But the idea is just to make it easy to take that next step, to get started on the right track and kind of dip your toe in the water, and then we'll take it from there. Because a lot of times people make the whole process of losing weight and getting in shape and everything else, they just make it too big in their mind and they procrastinate. So, hey, you got a 5 day lose your gut challenge. Like you can do anything for 5 days, right? Give
Yeah.
it a go.
Mhm. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
often people start the process and they're like, oh, this isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And then they start to actually see some results from it. And they realize it just takes a few little minor adjustments to tip the scale in favor of progress.
Yeah.
I can do this. And then you see
Yeah.
other people do it. Right. So it's just kind of building, knocking over the first domino. That's what it's like, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
knocking over that first domino.
Good. Good way of putting it.
Mhm.
Good. Well, I've been impressed with going on your website and your YouTube and seeing the comparison of guys that their before and after photos. You do a lot
Yeah.
of that,
Mhm.
and these guys are so proud of the
Yes.
work. And I mean it's hard work.
Yeah.
I found for me losing 50 pounds. Losing it was one thing, maintaining it was something else. But putting in the work and the effort and intentional eating and intentional fitness,
Yeah.
intentional mindset, getting on track. So good.
Where can people find you, Lee? Before you leave us, where can people find you? Where's the easiest place to find you?
If someone's on Facebook, that's where I'm most active. Just do a search for Lee Hayward on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also on YouTube. I got a YouTube channel, Lee Hayward's Total Fitness Bodybuilding. But if someone just searches online for Lee Hayward's Total Fitness Bodybuilding, that would pop up there. Right?
Okay.
My website, I have leehayward.com is my website as well. But again, if you just search for my name, it'll pop up there in the search results.
Perfect.
That's
good.
awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been great.
Yeah. Thank you for giving us your time today.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
For sure.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Take
Bye.
care.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Wow, what an interview with Lee. So knowledgeable.
So knowledgeable. And I love the fact that he kept referring to the imperfection of it all.
Oh, yeah.
I really do.
He did.
I love the fact that he kept saying that it's okay.
Yeah. And that the line that struck me when he said, it's better to be consistently good than occasionally great.
Yeah, I like that. I'm probably going to put that on a t-shirt. Lee, I'm stealing that. I'm probably going to put that on a t-shirt. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it's I mean, or I might just put occasionally great on it.
I'm not surprised.
I haven't decided
I'm not
yet.
surprised.
But yeah, that was a really great interview. He so much knowledge.
Yeah. Right from the fitness to the nutrition to the mental health to the relationships to the lifelong learning.
Yeah. He had it all.
Yeah.
He had an answer for everything. Yeah.
And I loved his closing answer when he talked about what's one thing you tell your younger self. And he says, I'm not sure I would, because I have grown the most through my errors.
Yeah.
And if I knew what I know, I wouldn't have struggled through those mistakes growing up.
Yeah, and he said, like, I wouldn't have told my younger self to avoid those mistakes. Yeah, which is huge, because we all want to avoid mistakes.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can really appreciate the fact that he doesn't, that he would still let himself go through those trials and errors.
Yeah. No, he's certainly a guy to follow. He's been doing it for decades.
Yeah.
And quite a following in his province.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And his YouTube channel, his website, all his challenges that he does. And we met him through the Dad Bod transformation group, and very knowledgeable.
Yeah. And like you mentioned in the interview, you mentioned that his client transformations are quite impressive, and there's a ton of them. If you've seen his pages, there's a ton of his clients that are on there with their transformations, and they are quite impressive.
They are.
Yeah, they really are. And he works hard as a coach to get those results with his clients. Yeah, not for his clients, with them.
His clients.
Yeah.
So tune into his website, tune into his YouTube. And if this episode spoke to you, hit the subscribe button. We wanted to make sure that you get further notice. And we'll also include all his contact information in the show notes.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So people can just click.
Yeah.
Get right there.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he comes up with in the new year. And that wraps up today's episode of Coffee and Conversations for Men.
Thanks for spending time with us. We truly appreciate it.
Be sure to check out the show notes for resources, links, and everything we've covered today.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed this conversation, share it with a friend or leave us a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
You can follow us on Instagram at Coffee and Conversations for Men. That's 4 as in the number 4. Got a topic you'd like us to explore? Reach out and let us know.
Just a quick reminder, we're not therapists. We're not counselors. We're not licensed professionals. Just 2 longtime friends sharing real stories and lessons from our own lives.
So if you're facing challenges with your health, your mental well-being, or your relationships, we encourage you to seek guidance from qualified professionals.
We hope our conversation sparked reflection, encouraged growth, and helped you feel more connected.
Until next time, this is Jay
and Brian,
reminding you to grab your coffee
or your favorite drink
and keep the conversations going. To stay strong,
stay curious,
and stay connected.